Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we are talking quarterback start and sit for week 12 of the NFL season. Hopefully you guys obviously are ready for this week. We've got obviously a great Thursday night game. We've got a great slate of games on Sunday, and of course a great game on Monday night. If you guys haven't already, check out my other waiver wire video to help you guys pick up some players that might help you out this week, as we are dealing with a lot of bye week issues. So let's jump right into it. So like I mentioned, there are a lot of teams on bye this week, which is going to affect a lot of you. You guys are going to be playing players you probably haven't played all season because we're dealing with a lot. You've got the Falcons, you've got the Saints, the Jets, the Bills, right? You even have the Jaguars, Saints. I mean, there's just Bengals. It's too many teams that are on a bye this week. And hopefully this video kind of helps you guys navigate it, figure out who you should start and sit. And of course, if you have questions, hit me down below. Now, these are your obvious starts at the quarterback position. These are the quarterbacks I feel I trust in their matchups. I trust in the amount of ability they're going to have, and obviously have a safer floor than most. Now, as far as my first quarterback I'm going to mention as a good start this week is going to be Justin Herbert versus the Ravens. Now, in week 11, the Ravens finally held a quarterback under 10 fantasy points, which was Russell Wilson. Ravens this season, though, have allowed an average of 20.4 points per game, and they allow 2 passing touchdowns per game as well. Justin Herbert has actually been playing very, very well, actually outstanding. In the last 4 weeks alone, he's been averaging 21.9 points per game. He has thrown 7 touchdowns in those 4 games, and this is an absolute must start for Justin Herbert. This is a great matchup. He's gotten really a lot out of Ladd McConkey. He's got a lot out of Quentin Johnston, Will Dissly, the tight end. I mean, this is a great matchup for him. I really like this one. He should be in your lineup. Now, another quarterback I really like this week is going to be Russell Wilson versus the Browns. Russ has struggled a bit in the last couple games. He's not as hot as he was when he first started with the Steelers. But I will say this. Thursday night games kind of make me nervous. We don't know how they're going to play out. It's a short week. Usually you get a very dull and boring game. But I actually think this is a really good matchup for Russell Wilson against the Browns. The Browns are allowing an average of 16.9 points per game and a passing touchdown per game as well. One of the biggest pluses in this matchup for Russ is that the fact that the Browns have only intercepted 1 time this season. So they're not creating a lot of turnovers. They're not getting a lot of pressure, even though they have Myles Garrett. I think this is going to be a game that the Steelers control. They manage really well. They get up big. I think they can actually get up by 2 touchdowns before the halftime starts. I think Russell Wilson ends up having a passing touchdown, 250. I think he's going to have a really good game. I think he's going to be around that 16 to 17 point range. Now, the last quarterback I'm going to mention as a good start this week is going to be Patrick Mahomes versus the Panthers. Panthers have actually played really well the last 2 games, only allowing an average of 13 points per game, and only have allowed 1 touchdown in those last 2 games. But those were against Derek Carr and Daniel Jones. Not wow factors when it comes to the quarterback position. Mahomes actually should feast against this defense. Carolina overall allows an average of 17.6 points per game and 230 passing yards. Mahomes in the last 4 games has averaged 18 points per game, and he's thrown 9 touchdowns in those 4 games. So even though maybe Travis Kelce's not having the best game in some of these, he's really getting the ball around. I really like this matchup from Mahomes. He should be a must start. Now, jumping into the sit, I've got Jameis Winston versus the Steelers. Winston had an amazing week 11 game, throwing for nearly 400 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. But this is a lot tougher matchup, especially with the short week. Steelers have actually been amazing defensively and only allowing an average of 11.8 points per game, and have only allowed 9 passing touchdowns this whole season. And they're also averaging an interception per game. This is where Jameis Winston has those issues. This is the kind of game where Jameis Winston might throw plenty of yards. He's going to get some sacks. He's going to throw a couple picks. Like, that's the kind of game this is going to be. I don't trust Jameis Winston. Another quarterback I'm kind of iffy on this week is going to be Matthew Stafford versus the Eagles. Unlike last year, Philly's defense has actually played really well this season. They've held quarterbacks to 13 points per game, only 192 yards passing per game. And I mean, they just held Jaden Daniels for 12 points, Joe Burrow to 13 points. Stafford has done a lot better since obviously getting Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua back. So there's always that upside. So realistically, you've got to look at this matchup based off of what you have. There are a lot of teams on bye, so maybe Stafford's the only option you have at quarterback. But if I'm you, I would probably look at some of the sleepers I'm going to mention, or maybe you've got another quarterback out there. But Stafford, I do have some concerns. I don't think this is a matchup I think he has some success in. And the last quarterback I'm going to mention is a good sit, Anthony Richardson versus the Lions. He had a great game coming back, obviously getting that starting role. Again, the biggest thing for him is going to be his growth and development. With that said, the Lions offense is so dominant, it forces teams to be one-dimensional. And if there's one thing that the Colts cannot be, is one-dimensional. If the Lions are up ahead, which is most likely going to happen, you're forcing Richardson into a position where he's going to throw 30 plus times a game, and that's not what you want out of Richardson. You want him to use his legs. You want to obviously control the clock. You want to use Jonathan Taylor. You want some of that action, and I don't think that's going to happen in this game. The Lions have held quarterbacks to like Jordan Love, Stroud, Murray, Stafford, Dak under 15 points or less because of the ability of getting ahead and forcing teams to be one-dimensional. This is a really tough matchup for Richardson. Unless he scores a touchdown near the red zone, I'm going to sit him. Now, as far as my sleepers, I've got Bo Nix versus the Raiders. I don't even know if you want to call it a sleeper at this point. Bo Nix has been on fire, but he's definitely a good matchup this week. And then I've got Sam Darnold versus the Bears. Bears defensively are pretty good, but they have been giving up, a couple 20-point games recently, and I think Sam Darnold could take advantage of that. So that's my start and sit and sleepers for Week 12. For the quarterback position. Of course, if you have questions, hit me up in the comments down below. If you haven't already, check out my other start and sit videos if this is the first one you saw. Again, make sure you guys are subscribed, hit that like button, hit some comments down below, and I'll check you guys out next time.